All right, you ready for this?
It's a fascinating world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's one way to put it.
This entity could shapeshift into anything imaginable.
Right.
Fear.
You're thinking along the right lines, but it gets weirder.
Wait, you're telling me a reality-bending entity was using Creature from the Black Lagoon as its main weapon?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Because then came September 3rd, 2026. Incident 8A66.2.
The report describes a whole surge of anomalous activity across the facility.
But picture this. SCP-2006, watching the Tingler for like the 6th time in a row. Suddenly, the lights flicker, the cell shakes.
And then it goes completely black.
Black.
The report mentions 2 frames that were captured in the darkness.
Okay, it's creepy, but the second frame is the one that makes your hair stand on end. It's almost completely black, except for this single detail.
Yes, a single detail that the report describes as.
Let's just say you wouldn't want to see it in your nightmares.
But something is very, very wrong.
Instead of whatever it shapeshifted into before, SCP-2006 is stuck in the form of a human woman. It seems like it's completely lost the ability to shapeshift.
Of course, this doesn't last.
Really?
That's what's so unsettling about it.
This is where things get really intense. We're going to dive into those interview logs with Dr. Owings.
And utterly afraid.
Right. It's almost like it went from being the monster under the bed to the kid hiding under the covers.
What's interesting is the language used by both SCP-2006 and Dr. Owings.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack that because this is where things get really interesting. So it's not afraid of being stuck. That's kind of wild.
Exactly. It's not afraid of being trapped in a way like, we might imagine.
Right.
It's afraid of whatever caused this whole transformation, like those missing moments when the camera went dark.
It's like, imagine being afraid of the dark, but instead of just a room, it's like your entire reality that's being plunged into darkness, you know?
And it gets worse.
Oh, no.
SCP-2006 is convinced this is just the beginning. Oh, no.
Yeah, that whatever happened to it is only the first sign of something much bigger and scarier.
Okay, now that's giving me chills. What could possibly be so terrifying to an entity that, feeds on fear? I mean, what could scare the monster under the bed, right?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
And it has huge implications. Is SCP-2006 actually neutralized?
Oh, wow.
Or did this incident accidentally open the door to something even more dangerous, something that even, like, a reality bender can't handle?
I'm going to need a minute to process that thought. So we've got these 2 frames from the camera footage, these glimpses into whatever went down in that cell.
Right.
What are we supposed to make of them?
Those 2 frames, as short as they are, completely turn our understanding of SCP-2006 upside down.
Yeah.
And maybe our understanding of containing these anomalies in the first place, right?
You're saying something might have gotten out.
It's impossible to say for sure,
Right.
but the evidence is right there. SCP-2006 went from delighting in fear to being utterly consumed by it.
And the source of that fear is still a complete mystery. It's like, imagine the fear you'd feel if the thing you thought you could control, the thing you thought you understood, suddenly became something else entirely, something far more powerful and completely unknown.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm picking up what you're putting down. And this fear, it's not just a feeling for SCP-2006, is it? It's like a fundamental change.
Exactly. SCP-2006's very essence was tied to its ability to shapeshift, to control fear. Now it's trapped in a form it can't change, a prisoner in its own worst nightmare.
Speaking of nightmares, let's dig a bit deeper into those interview logs with Dr. Owings. What stood out to you?
It's fascinating how both Dr. Owings and SCP-2006 describe its condition as being sick. It's as if this transformation is some sort of cosmic illness.
Like a virus, but for reality-bending entities.
Precisely.
Wow.
And that begs the question, what could infect something as powerful as SCP-2006? What could so fundamentally alter its being?
Okay, let's unpack that, because this is where things get really interesting. This whole idea of a cosmic illness, it's like something out of an SCP Foundation fever dream.
It is, and it really challenges our understanding of these entities, doesn't it?
It really does.
We tend to see them as these all-powerful beings, capable of bending reality at will.
Right.
But what if they're just as vulnerable as us? Just, on a different scale.
It's like SCP-2006 got a taste of its own medicine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It spent its whole existence inflicting fear on others.
Right.
And now it's facing something that terrifies it.
Yeah.
Like to its core.
Right.
It makes you think about the nature of fear itself, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fear is such a primal emotion, and for an entity that, thrived on it to become consumed by it,
Wow.
that speaks volumes.
It's like what scares the monster under the bed.
Exactly. And the fact that we don't know that the source of SCP-2006's fear remains a mystery,
Yeah.
that's what makes this case so unsettling.
We've talked about SCP-2006's fear, and the possibility that whatever caused it might be even more dangerous. But what about the Foundation itself? What do you think this incident says about them?
That's the really unsettling question, isn't it? They call themselves the SCP Foundation,
Right.
dedicated to securing, containing, protecting.
Right.
But what happens when they encounter something they can't contain? Something that breaks their methods, defies their understanding.
It's like realizing that the people you thought were in control, maybe they aren't as in control as you thought.
Precisely. And that's what makes this incident so compelling.
Yeah.
It forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge,
Right.
the possibility that there are forces at play that we may never fully understand.
Yeah, it's a humbling thought, for sure. But there's also a certain thrill to it, don't you think? This glimpse into the unknown, the possibility of things beyond our comprehension.
Absolutely. It reminds us that the world is a far stranger, more wondrous, and yes, more terrifying place than we often give it credit for.
Well, we've certainly taken a deep dive into the weird and wonderful world of the SCP Foundation today. We've explored the strangeness of SCP-2006, the chilling nature of its transformation, and the unsettling questions it raises about the nature of fear and the limits of control.
And perhaps, most importantly, we've been reminded that the unknown is not something to be feared,
Right.
but to be explored, even when it challenges our understanding of reality itself.
So the next time you find yourself face to face with the unknown, remember SCP-2006.
Yes.
Remember that even the things we think we understand can hold surprises, that fear itself can be a powerful force, and that sometimes the greatest discoveries come from confronting the things that scare us the most.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop diving into the depths of the unknown.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.